Welcome to another episode of Unlocking the Secrets of Autism. Excited to be here tonight with my co-host. So my name is Karen Raposa. This is my husband Russ Raposa, and our co-hosts Michael Dressler and Amy Dressler. And we have a very special show for you tonight. We actually have a very special guest, and her name is Christine Castengay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Christine first, and then we'll enjoy some time with her tonight. So Christine Latour Castengay is a senior hairstylist and former faculty in the cosmetology program at Durfee High School in Fall River, Massachusetts. She's the mother of 5 children and grandmother/nana to 10 children. But most importantly, Christine is my mom and grandmother to my son Tommy, who is 20 years old and is significantly impaired by autism. She has not only taken significant time and effort to learn about autism and to understand how to connect with her grandson, but she's become quite an expert in the development of her behavior guidance skills in order to help Tommy through the process of cutting his hair. So, Mom, I'm so excited to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you.
And we have lots of questions, and we know our audience is going to want to learn a lot, not just about the fact that you're a hairstylist and that you've had so much success with Tommy over the years, but also just the fact that you're a grandmother. And so if you could share with the audience first how many years you worked as a hairstylist, just in general, and then how many years you actually taught students at Durfee High School how to do that.
Well, I graduated from hairdressing school at age 19, so that might tell you something.
Well, you don't have to tell us how old you are.
But then I worked as a hairdresser off and on while I was raising my 5 children, so at least 30 to 35 years. And then for 15 years, I taught at Durfee.
All right.
Yes.
That's a long time. You got a lot of expertise.
A little bit,
Yes.
yes. And I enjoyed all of it.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, so Nana, do cosmetology students learn anything about how to help people with intellectual or developmental disabilities, like autism, through a haircut appointment, either in a high school setting or when they are learning in a more formal cosmetology special program?
I can only speak of our program at Durfee, and we were fortunate because once a week on a Monday, we would have many special needs students come in and give the kids the opportunity to shampoo their hair, trim their hair, and deal with them, which was, I think for them, a very unusual experience and very gratifying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that.
And for us too.
I never even actually knew that.
Yeah,
so
that's
they
true.
could come in and actually get their hair
They
done.
come in with their caregivers.
Yeah.
And they actually got their hair
That's
done.
amazing.
And I think there were several groups because we couldn't do all of them at once because there were quite a few. But it was nice and it made them happy too.
Oh.
That
Right.
seems ahead of your time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that was, cause I was one of the teachers and Mrs. Konasowitz also. We both worked with the students so that they wouldn't be too nervous doing it.
Did they get any chance to help
Yes.
through the process?
Oh yeah, they were doing it. We were just kind of guiding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
All
they
right.
did
So,
it. Because we did take in customers at the school.
yeah. So they were not there as customers. They were
No.
there to help actually do the hair styling.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is, it's kind of
No, I'm sorry. The kids were, the special needs students were customers.
We're customers. So my
customers.
question
But
was,
my students were working.
but did the special needs students, if they wanted to, could they have an opportunity to do some of the hair or at least assist with that?
Any
That wasn't
choice?
part
We
of it.
didn't go
Yeah.
into any of that.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's a good idea, though.
yeah, that is.
so what do you see as one of the biggest challenges when you are giving a haircut to a special needs child?
Personally, my biggest challenge is the fear of an error if they move quickly. You know, how
Okay.
sometimes they have a little episode and they get nervous. So we have to immediately stop and wait. But that's the part that's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, especially
But I
if you
think
get
after you do
scissors.
it a few times,
You get used to it?
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you tell us any techniques or anything you do to prepare, or for both people to prepare for the appointment, and then anything you might do to help things along after they're in the chair?
I think to prepare, we tell them ahead of time, several times, what we're
What
going
you
to
do.
do, what's going to happen. We're going to have a haircut. And I know with Tommy, once he sits in the chair, I use clippers on his hair, and of course they buzz and make a sound, which is sometimes bothers some kids. But I have him I put his hand on the clipper while it's running. The vibration, he holds it for a few minutes, and then it seems like it's okay. And then sometimes he gets a little upset in the middle, and we stop. Let him calm himself down, and he actually does well with
does.
now. I mean,
Yeah.
it took a few years, but he likes haircuts, I think.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of it is routine,
I was going to say routine.
over and over.
So he knows what to expect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
yeah.
I think
And he
it-
knows it doesn't hurt. That's, I think that's probably one of the bigger fears of any child, is the fear of those scissors, clippers, and all that it might hurt. So once they realize it's okay, then
Yeah,
they're
and,
better.
and certainly with autism, there's the sensory input challenge, that there's different noises, and you've got
Yeah.
to touch me, and
Yeah, that's
like you
right.
said, a lot of it is trust too. If it can be someone that they're comfortable, that they've learned to trust
Yeah, it'd be
over
nice
time.
if they could see the same person all the time, but that doesn't always happen.
No.
That would make a
And
big
you know
difference.
how they are, they like to know the
You're
person.
you're such a hands-on grandmother, and you have so much experience, and you're so good at it. Are you able to interact with Tommy and your other grandchildren all together on a regular basis, or how does that work?
No, once in a while, but I think they've grown into each other. They know what he does, what he doesn't do, and they know how to react with him, don't you think? I think they'll do high fives with him, and and I don't know. I think they're more relaxed with Tommy now. As years go by, they can interact with him a little bit better.
I do have to say, before I jump into my next hairdressing question,
Yeah.
that you have been very proactive in bringing the grandchildren together in settings outside of just a holiday, or it doesn't just happen by accident with someone like Tommy. It has to be a planned time together. It's not like, you take your other grandchildren, we're just going to go shopping today, or we're going to go to the mall. There's, and you do make a very concerted effort. I think we'll definitely talk more about all of those things. I'm just thinking back about the haircuts. And so in terms of motivation, I think is where I want to go, because we all know when it comes to a kid like Tommy, there's got to be something in it for him. So he doesn't really get the fact that cutting my hair on a regular basis is something I need to do. I do believe he understands I look really good after it's done.
I think you're right, because he looks in that mirror and he
says-
smiles.
Yeah, they do.
Because there's
Yeah.
a change in
Right.
his
Ours are the same
appearance.
way. Looks in the mirror while it's being done and kind of.
He does,
It's like
yes.
that.
So I think there is a little bit of that motivation there. But what other things do you think are helpful in motivating him to kind of make his way through? There's things that you tell him he can have, or do you sing or count, or?
Well, yeah, sometimes we count if he gets upset, but I think he loves to go for a ride in my car, Nana's car. So that is a big help when, just to get him into the chair, because sometimes he's reluctant to sit. And then when we say, if you do well, we're going to go in Nana's car, and that's his thing. He just,
It's a good reward.
Yeah.
It's not usually food or candy or any of that. It's what he likes, and he likes to ride in the car.
Absolutely.
I've also seen you tell him, look, we're going to do it for a count of 5, and then we're going to stop. And then we're going to do it for a count of 5. If he's really having
That's
a
a
tough
great
time, because
technique.
like all of us, we have good days and bad days. Some days he just kind of lets her do her thing a little bit
Yeah.
more or
right.
longer.
And other
True.
days he's just not in the mood, just like all the
True.
rest of us. You know, sometimes we're in the mood.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen that work with him. Of course, you know, singing is always helpful, but everybody's different. So like you said earlier, I think the more you work with someone and you get to know them, probably like any of your other customers, you get to know what they like, what
I think it's like
They don't
any
like.
True.
any kid.
it's true.
Just
Yeah,
they all have their things. And,
yeah,
and you kind of get to know what they like and what they don't
Yeah.
like, and what makes them nervous. And,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, after his haircut, that was another thing, is I always tell him when I'm there, Tommy, you look good for the girls. He always has that grin. He puts that grin like,
Yeah.
you know, when he looks in the mirror, he's definitely like, hey, you know, I really do look good. And I say, you're going to look good for the girls, Tommy. And he gives like a little grin, so you know he knows what you're
Yeah.
talking
Girls.
about.
Yeah.
He loves it. He definitely loves it.
Does, yeah.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got another question. Do you need to avoid stimuli of the haircut and the noises that are heard of the cutting? And do you need any special cutting tools?
I think if you can do it, the faster the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
True.
clippers, to me, is the
Sweet.
Yep.
quickest way to get through a haircut. And if you're comfortable, you know, with attachments, whatever, just
Right.
do it as fast as you can, because
Yeah, because they don't have much.
they don't relax too
Do you
long.
spray him? Because Brent hates being sprayed. I would always tell them, spray the comb and then get his hair wet. Don't do this at him.
Yeah.
No,
But some
I-
people don't.
No,
some
I
people don't
warn
care.
him. Tommy, I'm
And
gonna
he's okay
spray.
with it. Yeah.
He's okay with it. But see, it's because I've done it. Maybe another kid, maybe the spray would scare him, or
Yeah.
he wouldn't like it. Or, you're right. Yeah, you
Just
could
another
spray the
sensory
comb.
thing.
I don't
You
like
also
it. It's
tend
too cold.
you also tend to put your hand here. I've seen you do
Yeah,
that.
Right.
So
so
it
the
never
hair-
gets the
Gets
face.
into-
She
yeah.
sprays here. So
Also, so the hair doesn't fall on his face. You know, when you're cutting him,
Yeah.
that
They don't like the
bothers me.
sensation,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to have hair falling all over me. So that's another reason why I could try to protect his face.
Well, speaking along those lines, how do you work with any quirks? Meaning, or how do you actually work through a child that has quirks?
You mean like little episodes? And
Yeah, or
Or-
unusual
or-
things that they may do, kind of like.
I
If
don't
they
know.
flap, you mean like flapping
Yeah.
or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that? Or-
I don't know if Tommy has.
That doesn't
is
go
there
into-
he
anything?
doesn't do he doesn't do a lot of rocking or flapping or
Just
you know,
sometimes
repetitive
outbursts.
movements.
No, he stays pretty
Um,
still for
And
me.
I don't, you know, and I don't know for those, because I know there are lots of individuals who have those kinds of things, and it may still be the same techniques, is that you ask them to just wait
Wait.
to the count of 5, and then you let them do
I
their
think that's the
thing.
only
Yeah.
way you can.
Right, you have to do
Counting
that.
I think
helps
it's a lot of the different, those different techniques that apply.
Right.
Right.
I
And
think
if
'cause it
there
gives
is,
them an end, accounting, even brushing
Yes.
teeth, anything. I count for everything.
Yeah.
Because they know, okay, it's to 10. I only have to make it till 10. Even though we're going to do it again, it's
Yeah,
still
right.
10.
but even if it's a day that they don't want the haircut, don't do it that day. If you,
That's true.
you know what
yeah,
I mean.
you gotta catch them on a. I've walked out before. We've said, "Yep, this
That's
ain't
what I'm
happening
saying.
today."
If a hairdresser is, has a kid that doesn't want to do it that day,
Right.
You can't force them.
you can wait.
And
We've
that
done
can
that
go
with Tommy.
a long way, because
Yeah.
you're also letting that person know that, look, you have a choice, you have some control, but we are going to come back.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, yeah, because you don't want to leave the impression that you don't
And you're
ever
lucky
have
because
to
you do it in
this.
your house, or
Yes.
yeah.
I have a
so
little spot that I can do it, so
'Cause we used
it's
to
a
have
lot
to
easier.
tell them, ask them to turn off the music when we would walk in the
Oh, I'm
background.
sure.
Music would bother him, and he
I
was.
think
music
years ago
alone.
there used to be a
So.
place in Seekonk somewhere that did.
Although, can't hairdressers do this in someone's home? Does their license cover them anymore? I don't know how that works. I never thought
legally,
about that.
Legally, they can't.
So they're
but
supposed to be in
they
a
don't have to
salon.
tell anybody.
Yeah, I didn't know what the
law is
legalities
not.
were.
You're lucky you have a family member. Most people
Yeah,
do
see,
not.
that's
Right.
the other thing. They,
Right.
if something happened, they'd be liable.
If
it'd
they
have
were
to,
in
and they would
somebody's
only
home.
probably do it for somebody very close to them.
But they have people come to the schools.
Because there are dental hygienists. There are states where dental hygienists can
Can go in.
perform dental hygiene outside of a dental
Which
clinic.
I think is much worse.
So I think, for our audience, state by state, you should look into that and inquire about that, because if in the state you live in, hairdressers are allowed to work outside of a
Right.
salon.
There are
There
schools
may
too that
be-
might take in
Right.
kids. I really don't know what their rules are about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the students would be nervous, a little bit nervous
Yeah.
without anybody on.
So,
I know Tommy a few times going to your house where he was all upset, talking about that, if they're upset and coming back another day, where we just say, Tommy, so you
Right.
don't want to do, no, like you can just tell he does
Yeah,
not want it at
You
all.
can tell the days that they're
And
not interested.
We'd
yeah.
say to him, Tommy, maybe we can come back tomorrow
Or
and
even
do
later sometimes you can do it.
Yeah,
at another.
we've done that. And
I know
he's
it's difficult with
fine.
the salon though.
so I wish we had another half hour together, but for the sake of time, do you want to shift gears a little bit? And,
Yeah, sure.
And we'll move into
Okay,
the other
certainly.
segment.
Now, on a personal level, can you share what you have learned as a grandparent of a person with autism that might help other grandparents who may have recently learned that their grandchild has a diagnosis?
The only thing I can say is that the best. I don't want to get emotional.
It's not easy.
But we get emotional
say
too.
it.
The best
so-
thing that you
Obviously, the
can
one
give
that-
that child or his parents, your children, is time
Yeah.
to help them, because it's an all-encompassing job to take care of them, and they need all the help they can get. And so time is free,
Yeah.
and you should do the best you can to help them.
I was thinking the same thing last night. I thought, I wonder if that'll come up, because as a grandparent, you wonder what you can tell other grandparents to do. And I would say, I mean, of course you want to spend time with the grandchild, but the parents, and especially sometimes the mom, they just need you to be able to manage them for a little while so they
That's
can have
right.
a break.
Just a
Because
little
it's a
while.
24-hour, 7
Or
days
do the
a week.
laundry.
I was just going to say,
something.
she's been great about that.
Really?
Sometimes
Yeah.
if he's in a mood and she knows she can't keep him safe, she'll just show up,
Do something
do
else.
some laundry, bring hot food. Just
Yeah.
shows up. Can I call me. Can I bring dinner tonight? I've
Yeah.
never said no, I
Right.
don't think. Ever.
And you're so lucky to have her local, because sometimes grandparents
true,
aren't local and they
yeah.
have less
Right.
experience and they have even less time and
That's so
a much
true.
shorter learning curve to try and figure out how to interact with them.
Yes.
You're right. I'm very fortunate that I have Tommy so close to be able to be with him much more than, I don't know about other people, but
Well, as a grandparent, how do you handle meltdowns and noises and issues like that?
I don't have to handle the meltdown. I mean, I'm rarely just all by myself. Although I remember back when you lived in New Jersey and I had to go pick him up after school, and he'd be in the back seat and he'd be, doing, I'd pull over to the side of the road or pull off and just sit
Wait it
and
out.
talk to him and wait till he got through it. But as a little bit older now, I don't deal with that as much. Although I don't think he does it as much.
He doesn't, and that's what's really interesting is he almost has an awareness that Nana is not as strong, that she's more
I believe
fragile
that.
than some of the people that he's with.
And he understands that?
man, I swear he
Yeah.
has found a way to restrain, and you can tell it's difficult for him sometimes, but he really does recognize that, Nana, he needs to be careful around Nana and have a
I
little
think
bit
you're
more
right. I think
control.
I truly believe that.
Which is
it's
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like
that.
he knows.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, he knows a lot more than we think.
So
Oh, yeah.
we've heard of using the Serenity Prayer, change what you can and let the rest go. Does this help with your grandson?
Helps with all my grandchildren.
Yeah, I was going to say, helps with everything for everybody.
So they were all like,
Every kid has their thing. You just, you'll learn.
yeah.
Even the grown ones, right?
Yeah.
Even the grown ones, absolutely. You just, you're
So the
right.
ages of your grandchildren range
from
This is a test now.
the youngest is 8, the oldest is 32.
Wow.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's pretty good range.
You could be a great grandmother if the oldest is 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm
It's gonna
not
happen.
yet.
It's gonna happen.
Gives me more time with the with the other ones.
Can you give us an example of how you kind of savor the moment when you're, and enjoy the memories? It's not always easy.
I'm a picture taker. I savor every moment with all of them, but probably a little more with Tommy, and videos. If I see him happy, I've got that camera going all the time, because that smile
Yeah.
does the world
Yeah.
for all of us. I mean, it's too bad you can't put it in a jar and save it, because it's
Right.
wonderful. But I think that's my thing is taking pictures and videotaping.
Good idea.
And she has captured on video moments where you just go back and you look and you go, why did he say that, or what was it about that day?
Yeah.
We always say, what was it about that day? If we could recreate whatever it was about that day, yet you just
Isn't that awesome?
you don't know why he has a
Right.
and I guess for all of us, some of
Yeah.
us have good days, some of us have bad days,
Right.
but there are just some days that are so unusual, and you're like, man, if he could be like that every day, there's so many more things we could do with him and for him, and
Right.
There's one thing especially that Tommy loves is to be on the boat, and there's something soothing to him about the rocking and rolling. But then sometimes when it's rough, he even enjoys that. And those moments because there are so few things
Yeah.
that he enjoys. And
I know,
that's-
that's the thing, is so few things.
That's
true,
the
yeah.
one that makes him the happiest. And
The
we
boat.
hate it in the winter time because we
You
can't.
don't have it.
Or when he's asking for the boat in the winter,
And he
being like 2
asks-
degrees
still
out,
asks.
and saying, "Oh, like
Yeah.
Tommy, sorry, it's too cold. It's all ice."
Yeah.
So we may have answered this. Russ and I have just a couple of quick questions, and then unfortunately our time will be done. But
Okay.
thinking about the holidays specifically, they're upon us any moment. So
Yeah.
as a grandparent, what do you do differently or thinks about specifically at this time of year when it comes time to spend time with Tommy and with Russ and I? Like, what are you thinking, and what are some of the things that are different this time of year
I
versus
think
other times?
Tommy knows it's Christmas. I think he loves the atmosphere. I really do, because I remember last year when we were at Laurie's. He was walking around, he was smiling, he was in it. And I think our family, we take turns being with him so that Karen and Russ can enjoy the time a little bit too. And we walk around, they take him outside for a walk. I mean, we spend time with him so that they don't have to for a little while. But he was wonderful last year at Laurie's house, and he was.
Yeah.
He seemed to enjoy it. So
He's getting better. He calls it a
he's-
party.
Yeah, party.
Always wants to be at the party, but
Yeah.
the other thing is he has to know that he can get out of there whenever he wants.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if he feels like, and that gets harder, of course. You
Right.
guys know in the winter, right? Because you can't just run out the door without a coat or without shoes. But
yeah.
then he wants to be outside, so whoever's going to do the walking with him is all bundled
Yeah,
up.
right, yeah.
It's like short moments where
Yeah,
somebody's
I'm
going
not
to go walk
talking
with
long
him.
times here, but for us, even 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes is a long time to be able to just enjoy the family Christmas party. Yeah.
Grab a plate of food or something real
Yeah,
quick.
while
Yeah.
they get to
You know?
eat.
She'll usually say,
Right.
I've got him, you eat. And then
Exactly.
we'll
what we
all
do.
take turns
But we
so
all
that
work at
everybody
it
can
I'll
eat.
take him
together,
for a
which is
quick ride, little
Yeah.
10, 15-minute ride.
Yes.
Just then he comes
Yeah.
back, he's
He's fine.
smile,
He's good
you know,
for a
ear
little
to
while
ear.
longer.
It's
It's
amazing.
It's a process.
it's a process.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a process.
And once we all know it, we're all set.
Yeah, true. All right, I got another question for you. What advice do you have for other grandparents to help them through the holiday season, since there are so many events that require socializing, and these can be difficult for the loved one with autism for the entire family?
Boy, I don't know how to.
Maybe it's the things that we just talked about is maybe
It's that,
just
yeah.
bringing food.
Gifts are hard to know what to get. You got to get the input from the mother and father. But some
advance,
kids
yeah.
probably love gifts. Tommy likes likes just to open it. He doesn't care mostly what's in it.
He likes
I
the
can
box.
remember for years, every time I showed up at the house, he'd say to me, "Present." That word, that was one of his words, present.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So
That's
I
fine.
don't have much advice about.
Yeah, and it's, I'm
a
sure you
difficult one.
experience this, it's hard too when someone gives a gift because you don't get a typical reaction like you do from someone
Right.
else.
And Karen,
so
like you like to hold off on the gifts so that he can enjoy them. You don't,
and he does. If we
Yeah.
And I understand that people want the gift open, they're expecting a reaction, but I know they're not going to get a reaction
Yeah.
that they would typically get, and I don't want them to feel like he didn't enjoy it
Right.
because what I end up doing, and I'm sure you both
Yeah.
have done this, is afterwards, whether it's a week or 5 days later when he is enjoying it, I'll take a picture and send it to the person
That's
who
a
gave
great
it to
idea.
him just to say, hey, you know,
He's
Christmas
enjoying
isn't
this,
his
yeah.
thing, but he really did enjoy your gift. So before we wrap up, are you aware of any grandparent support groups? I know there was an organization, Community Autism
years
Resources
ago,
or
I haven't
something,
been
Oh, in
involved
Swansea?
with
which
one.
is a support. They have a
Swansea.
support group
Yes.
for
Community
grandparents.
They do.
Okay, so it's again, what's it called? Community
Autism Resources.
Autism
Yep.
Resources.
That's
They
right.
had a
Yes.
grandparent.
I went, I think,
support
twice,
group.
many years ago when Tom
Yeah.
was smaller.
Yeah, great
but
organization.
Did that help you early on when he was early in
I'm
his
not
diagnosis?
sure if it did, because I don't know if I
Didn't work.
realized
Yeah.
about autism as much as I do now. Maybe
Yeah.
now I would enjoy being,
Yeah.
helpful
Uh-huh.
to other grandparents. But back then, I don't think I knew enough to.
But that is a great resource.
It is.
And
There's another one
Randall's-
too.
Yeah, Jan Randall's
The
great over
Arc.
there.
Yes, Jan Randall.
The ARC, I believe, has a program.
Yes,
for
the
that.
ARC.
The ARC,
Bristol
the ARC
County.
does
Yeah.
have grandparent
Bristol County.
support programs as
Or at least
well.
they're worth calling and looking into
Yes,
and
absolutely.
seeing.
They could
yeah.
direct you in the area of
Yeah.
Yes.
that as
That was a
well.
good one.
Sometimes when you know that somebody's in the same boat as you, it makes things easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They understand you understand each other,
Yeah.
and you get ideas.
Well, thank you, Mom. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing all of your expertise with hairstylists and how they can help. And I think it's an opportunity for people to build friendships with a hairstylist as well. We know
Right.
our kids don't really have, it's hard for
Right.
them to develop friendships, and so that may
Yes.
be
When
another
you
great
find
opportunity.
a good one, get their card.
That's
I do
it.
that.
That's it. So thank you again for being with us, and thank you everybody for tuning into the show. Please share your feedback with us, and we wish everybody a very happy and healthy holiday season. Hi. Nana cutting your hair? Huh?
Yeah. Nana cutting your hair.
Say bye, Mom.
Hi.
Bye, Mom.